Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video here for those of you asking how to automate these Livewire indicators using the Predator X order entry. I know there's been quite a few of you asking for templates to help you guys get started. So I'm going to be sharing this one, and I'm also going to use this video to kind of go over how to set things up as well. But just a few quick things before we get started. This video is not trading advice whatsoever. I'm still actually fairly new to these indicators myself. I've been mainly just bouncing ideas with some of the guys in both of our groups. So this is going to be mainly just a how to set things up kind of video. And I'm also kind of going to go over some of my thinking with this particular setup. But again, guys, this is not trading advice. I just started running this myself. So definitely do your own testing and run this at your own risk. But with that said, I am going to leave some links of where to find these Livewire indicators and a free trial of the Predator X all down below. But with that, let's move over to our chart. All right, so for this example, I'm using the TrendTracker indicator. So that is the Livewire TrendTracker. And this is using the newest version, 1.11, I believe this is the newest version. They just added a bunch of new features, a bunch of new plots that are also compatible with the Predator X. So I'm going to show you how to use the Predator's plot signal system so we can automate and filter out using some of these plots as well. But just to go over kind of my thinking, my setup with this particular indicator, again, guys, not trading advice. I don't know how profitable this is going to be, if it's going to be profitable in the long term on a live account. I just started on eval account. Actually, this is a 25K account, so probably should be using micros or a bigger account for this setup, but it's just kind of what I had available at the time. So just keep that in mind as well. But for this example, let me take these out of the way for now. For this example, I am using the NinjaTrader bars. I know Kelly has her own Livewire Renkos. Use those if that's what you like using. For me personally, I've always used NinjaTrader for these kinds of Renko style trades. I just find them easier myself, but again, I haven't really tested the other ones as well. So maybe that is something to explore. And for me, when I'm trading NQ, I do like the bigger bars. I do find it's a little less choppy, but again, all personal preference. The downside with these bigger bars is your stop loss is going to be much higher. So you definitely need to make sure you have an account that can account for that stop loss. But as far as the setup, it's quite simple. I'm basically just automating these scalp signals. I know she's got the swing and the scalp. For this setup, I'm just looking at the scalp. I'm not looking at these swings for now. And with these signals, all I'm trying to do is, I believe one of these is the VWAP. I want to say it's this big line here. Yes, it's a little bit hard to tell because they're both the same color, but I believe this is the VWAP right here. So all I'm trying to do is make sure the price, when I'm going short in this example, the price must be below the VWAP, and the trend tracker as well. This is the other line. Again, I'm going to see if I can change the colors of these in the future just so I can tell them apart a little easier. But I basically just want them both to the short side, the price under them, and only then do I consider the short trades. If I was to get a signal, that's when I enter a short position. And it's the opposite for a long. I want to make sure my price is above the VWAP, it's above the trend line, and my trend line is also this blue cyan color. So only if both of those are bullish and we get a bullish scalp signal, that's when I'm going to enter a trade. So very, very, very straightforward. So that's all it really is just confirming we're on the right side of the trend before we enter the trade. Now, as far as the actual order management, I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'm not looking for home run hits here. I am trading the minis here, so I don't need a huge move in order to make my day. For this, I'm only looking for a 50 tick profit. Or with these NinjaTrader bars, that's a little over 3 bars created in the same direction. So here we enter 1, 2, 3, and maybe a little bit. We got a little bit of a better fill here. So once we enter 1, 2, 3, and that should give us our profit target. Again, not a huge move, especially when you're trading on NQ. Same thing for the short. 1, 2, 3, and we get our fill. And then for a stop loss, we're using the high or the low of the previous candle. This is something I'm still playing around with a little bit to see what gives us the better results. So at the moment, I'm just placing my stop loss at the high when I'm going short, or I'm placing it at the low when I'm going long. Now, this is kind of where we start getting into a little bit of a dangerous territory, because with a bar size this big, it is going to be a pretty big stop loss. So for that reason, I do kind of recommend moving this to the micros or trading it with a much bigger account, at least much bigger than the 25K account I'm using for this. But again, that's just the account I had available, so that's the account I'm using for now. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll get lucky and pass right away, or maybe I'll blow it and I'll have to adjust to a bigger account. But other than that, the only other thing I'm adding to this, and this is again something I'm still testing out to see if it's better in the long term or if I should just give it that room. But for now, because that initial stop is pretty big, I am starting to trail my stop right away. And that's at the low of each new bar as we continue to make new bars, or the high if we're going short. So with that, it should help mitigate some of the bigger losses, but you can be stopped out a little bit early on some trades. Again, guys, this is all things I'm starting to test and just some ideas I've been bouncing around with some people. So that's all there is to the actual entry conditions and the order management as well. Now, the only other things I'm going to add to this are some time filters and a P&L limit. Again, because I'm trading such a small account, I don't need these home run winners. I don't need to be making thousands of dollars per day. I'm just looking for a quick profit when there's the most volume at the beginning of the day, and then I'm done. So I have my time filter. It doesn't start until 9:30 a.m. and my VPS is set to Eastern time. So that is the New York Open. So right at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, that's when I'm going to start looking for trades. I have it set till 4:45 p.m. This should not trade that long ever, at least I hope not. For what I've seen in most of the backtesting, most days are done before 10 a.m. So that is something I like. I don't want to be trading all day. Again, 1 or 2 trades per day, and I am more than happy. The next thing I'm looking for is a P&L limit. And this is going to help me either limit my wins or my losses. So at the moment, I have it set for a $400 loss or win. So my realized profit, 400, realized loss, again, $400. That means once I hit that realized P&L, it's going to stop trading for the day. So with a 50 tick profit target, each winner should give me around $250. So that means if I hit 2 winners, I'm at $500 for the day. That's above the 400, and it should stop trading. As far as losses go, that should also give me enough room to take up to 2 losses. Again, it depends how far your high-low actually is, but in most cases, it should allow for at least 2 losers. So if I lose, I want to try again. If I lose again, stop trading. And again, guys, this is where I'm kind of still figuring out where the best stop loss location is. I don't typically like negative risk to reward, but I do find the win rate was a little bit higher on this one. So it is something I am willing to test out for now anyways, at least on the eval. We'll see if that passes or if it fails, and then we'll carry that over. But just to quickly go through some of the previous days before this video gets too long, let's go till 9:30 a.m. This was yesterday. I don't have any trades taken. I just started testing this live today, so I don't have any trades from previous days. But just to go over kind of where the signals were. So you start at, let's see if there's anything at 9:30. No, so 9:30 rolls by. So this is one where you kind of do have to wait for a little bit. But at 9:49, you get your first signal here, and then you just need 3 bars. So 1, 2, 3, you're done. And then we're looking for 2 winners just to reach above that $400. So you get a second signal right away within a few minutes. 1, 2, 3, and a bit, you're done. So this was one of those days everything would have just won, but like today, we would have been done early. Then let's go back to the previous day. So over here, we're looking at 9:30. So we get our first signal here, but we are still under this VWAP. So these are not valid long entries. So our first valid entry is when we're above the VWAP and above the trend line. So it is this one here. So we enter 1, 2, 3, and a bit. So you get your first winner. And then over here, we enter, and that's a straight loss. So you get your first loss there. Here we enter 1, 2, 3. This is kind of where we're still working on the trail stop. So if we are trailing, you likely would have been tagged out somewhere along here. If you're just going either hits profit or hits your stop loss, that one would have been a winner. But again, we'll call that a loser just because we are trailing right now. Let me see. And here we enter 1, 2, 3, and a bit. So this was likely a winner. And 1, 2, and then you got stopped out on the pullback. So this day, because the stop losses are bigger than the profit targets, this one you would have likely lost for the day. I'd have to replay it, but likely this day would have been a loser. Again, if you were just going straight to their profit target, maybe you would have been fine. But with our current trail stop, I don't think that would have been the case. Anyways, I'm going to remove everything and I'm going to set it up from scratch. And that way you guys can learn how to set all of this up yourself. All right, so here I'm going to quickly set this up. So first, we're going to load the indicator. So for this one, I am using the TrendTracker. And what I ended up learning while making this video is I don't actually need to handle the VWAP directly through the Predator. We can use the Predator to create filters, but this indicator already does it for us. I never had this selected, but using this option should do the same thing we just looked at. So this is actually going to make our lives a whole lot easier. But with that selected, the only other thing I'm going to do is make sure the table placement is the top right. When it's in the top left, it does block our validation system. But again, all personal preference. So now that it's loaded on the chart, there are really 2 ways we can automate this indicator. The first method is with the draw object signals. So if you were to click on the lightning bolt or the text, you're going to see your draw object tag, and then you would simply just type in scalp long symbol for a long condition or scalp short symbol for a short condition. I did make a short video using another Livewire indicator. I'm going to link that one down below as well. But this new version does have plot value signals, which we can use to automate. So I'm going to show you how to automate these plot value signals. Now, I believe this was just added in this latest version, but what we want to do is open up the data box, and if we scroll over them, we'll sometimes be able to see the actual plot value. Now, the problem is if the plot is transparent, like many of these signals are, they won't show up in the data box unless they're specifically exposed to do so. But don't worry, the Predator can still read them, whether they're transparent or not. But if you do want to get that plot value signal, I'm going to show you a quick little workaround. Just to give you a visual, you don't have to do this part, but it might help you with other indicators down the road. You just have to go into the indicator under plot and just change the color to something different. So now that it's a different color, it's going to be exposed in the data box. And now if you hover over a signal, I think that's where I took a trade, you're going to see the plot value change from 0 to -2 for a short, and then 0 to +2 for a long. So that is the plot value that we need to use inside the Predator. And if we were to go over to this swing, you'll see the swings are +1 and -1. But again, for this example, we're sticking to the scalp signals. So now that we know that, let's go back into the indicator. I am going to switch this back to transparent. That way the auto scale does not mess with it, or else sometimes your chart will get really small because it's trying to read a +1 and -1 on the same chart. So just change that back to transparent when you get the plot value. Now for the Predator setup, let's go into the properties. So we're going to load it. All we need is a custom signal. We're going to select one entry signal, plot mode, and our operator is going to be equals to +2 for the long and -2 for a short. And that's all you need. We're going to be able to select the plot tag from the chart once we load it. So now I'm just going to adjust my order management. So my stop loss is going to be the high-low. My profit target is 50 ticks. And if you choose to have some sort of a trail stop, I'm going to set that to high-low. And then just your additional filters. So one time limit starting at 9:30 a.m. And again, my computer is set to Eastern on my VPS. You would need to adjust it to your own time zone. And then a realized P&L of 400 win, 400 loss. That is all you need. Let's enable this. So once you get a price change in the market, you're going to see your P&L appear. By that point, you should be able to come up here to the top left-hand corner, and we're going to select our plots. So this one is the trade signal. And that should be all that you need. It's now going to automate these scalp entry signals whenever they appear. Now, we just missed some right here. That would have been a good example, but let me show you how to backtest with these plot signals. Again, we're in a live market. You could also do market replay, but this might help for now anyways. Let's go back into the properties. And I just want to say, do not have this option enabled while live trading. But in order to backtest and show historical performance, just select this option. Remove it once you're live trading, but this should be good for now. And then to make these NinjaTrader bars just a little bit more accurate, historical backtesting, never going to be as accurate as live or market replay, but changing this to a high fill resolution should help it make it a little bit more realistic. And another note, when you're live trading, change this back to standard. Never leave it as high. This is very important to keep in mind. Just do this for backtesting. So now when we enable, all right, we're going to see some past performance. Again, guys, historical backtesting is never as accurate, but let me compare to where we actually entered the trade. So these were my actual eval accounts that I traded this morning. Let me make this a little bit smaller. And this is the historical performance. So here we get the signal on the live account. We enter here. Over here, it got us fairly similar. It entered here, but the results were fairly similar for today anyways. Let's see the long. Again, the long just kind of gets us at that point. So not 100% accurate of where it enters, where it exits, but it does enter on the same trades. So it does help a little bit to gauge whether that trade would have been good or not. Again, real-time trading is going to be the most accurate, but this does give us a quick idea. Now, let me see the past days real quick. So again, here we have our 2 short trades for the day, stops trading. Here we have this day, we got 2 long entries here. And over here, the day I was pretty sure was going to be a looser. Again, this all depends on where you actually enter and how it trails your stop. The backtesting might not be 100% accurate. Yes, a day like this, you'd be better off running on market replay just to kind of see where it actually is supposed to enter. But this does give us a fairly good idea of what to expect. Now, let me load a few more days. And then I think I'm going to cut the video. This video got a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. Just going to load 90 days and then we're going to test all of them. All right, so here we have all 90 days loaded. So we're testing August 21st. So let's enable this. And it might take a little bit to load everything, but it should help us at least gauge whether we should continue testing this strategy with better methods or not. Again, guys, I'm still fairly new to these indicators myself, so definitely needs more backtesting, but this will help give us a decent idea. All right, so here you can see it doing its thing. It's got to go through 90 days, and there we go. So let's start at the beginning. We're not going to go through all 90 days, but again, I just want to show this is the same days. So yeah, all of those same trades. So everything seems to be working. Just we'll do a couple more days. So here we get more signals. Oh, so here we start the day off, a winner, a loser, winner, winner. Now this one traded all day. So this is one of those days where you don't get a lot of signals, you get stopped out, one little winner, and then you get a loser here. Right at the end of the day. See, if maybe we weren't trailing that stop, we could have gotten lucky, but again, that's all things to test. Let's see the performance. I don't think I have commissions on this, but so here the drawdown is fairly decent for a 25K account. Definitely not good. I definitely need to go up to micros, but 50K account, maybe. I would suggest even higher. When you're trading the minis like this, that stop loss is pretty big. But it is a fairly decent historical performance. Again, historical trades, never going to be as accurate. We'll have to keep running this and see how it works. But this should give us a good rough idea. Again, we haven't added commissions. We need to add commissions. A lot more things we need to add. And also account for realistic fills. Historical trades are always going to be perfect fills. We know that's never the case on a live account. So anyways, I am going to share the live template in my own group, TradeSaber, and I'll also share this template with either Aaron or Cody over at Livewire for those of you over there who want to try this out as well. Again, not trading advice, just bouncing some ideas. But anyways, I hope you guys found this video useful. As always, take care, enjoy.